You are now listening to the Insight Fantasy Sports Podcast.
Welcome in and welcome all. We are back. It's the Insight NFL show, Wednesday, the 24th of September, and it's a nice little SuperCoach edition. It's our trade show for the week. And might I add, this is probably my favorite show as we head in, because I know for myself as an NFL SuperCoach player, this is probably the most beneficial, I think, and it's always good to talk trade-ins and trade-outs. Joined, as always, are Secko and Maverick. I am Mullin hosting tonight. Secko, throwing it to you. Week 4 is just around the corner. We've got our trade show tonight. There's been a little bit of news come through. How are you feeling as we look into week 4?
Yeah, I can't believe it's already 3 weeks down. I feel like it was just yesterday that we were talking about, week 1 and preseason. There's been some carnage this week, so we'll obviously touch on that in doing our trade in, trade outs, primarily our trade outs. But yeah, mate, we're pumped to get in week 4. It's only a couple of days away. Little public holiday down here in Melbourne for those that the January on Friday, so we get to watch football without having to worry about pretending to work for the day. So a
Must be nice.
little luxury.
Must be very nice. I'm on the other side of that. I will be pretending to work for the day, and most likely from home, so I don't miss that Seahawks and Cardinals game. Mav, you're smiling. You're down in Melbourne. You've also got the day off coming up at the end of the week. How are you feeling as we look into week 4?
Fantastic, mate. Day off Monday, not to brag, but I'll be sitting on the couch, probably watching the game. Huge. We're a week away from the 4 a.m. slate of games, an extra hour sleep. It's a really, really big thing in our lives. An extra hour is massive. So looking forward to that week to come around. And also, I touched on it last night a little bit, but week 4 in SuperCoach is actually when the SuperCoach Cup begins. So the top 18,000 teams will be going neck and neck, head to head for the remainder of the year. Knockout competition, you win, you go through the next round or next week, and you keep on going through until there's one team remaining at the end. So, looking forward to getting stuck into that. So our trade show tonight's going to be huge for, I suppose, even lining up for the SuperCoach Cup, because you want to be the winner. That's the whole point of the game, is to win. So just another side competition on top of what we do in SuperCoach in the first place.
It's exciting, that SuperCoach Cup. I did forget about it until you reminded us all last night, and I had a look, and I'm eligible. I'm in the cup. If you haven't already, make sure you go to that SuperCoach app and just have a look in those tabs up the top at SC Cup and see if you made the cut. If it's unavailable for you, better luck next year. We'll go from there. But exciting that's added another level into SuperCoach NFL here in Australia. A little bit of housekeeping before we get into some quick injury updates and some big news that dropped today. We will be doing our week 4 preview tomorrow. That's more in the lens of traditional fantasy. We'll have our starts of the week that were very hot last week. DFAB and myself, we nailed on a couple, and the fantasy footballers over in America, they must have tuned in and gotten some easy work done, because they took our picks. But with that being said, Captain's Huddle also for SuperCoach, that'll be dropping tomorrow morning now. So it was normally Friday morning. We're going to give you guys an extra day and drop that Thursday morning, just so you're a little bit more prepared to start the game. And last but not least, our waiver wire show last night. Again, if your waivers do run on Wednesday, it's probably not as beneficial, but we do cover a lot of injuries at the start of that show. Okay, with this, like I mentioned, there's not a whole lot of injuries. We haven't had a lot of injury updates, so I won't drop the drop on that one just today. I'll just go through. Zach Charbonnet, full participant in today's practice. He's trending towards a week 4 start. Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans, and CeeDee Lamb. I'll loop all of these guys in. Still unclear on how much time these guys will miss. Terry McLaurin might still be a chance for week 4, but just one to watch out for with its quad. CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans, most likely, or pretty much guaranteed, they will be missing week 4 and potentially 2 to 3 more weeks after that. But the biggest news that we will get into and spend a little time on, and this one is worthy of a drop. It's probably 3 weeks too late, but here we go.
It's time for some news from around the league.
So with this one, a lot of New York Giants fans are probably rejoicing today. Jackson Dart has been named the starter in week 4 against the Chargers. Russell Wilson no more. It will be very interesting to see what happens with his career moving forward. I pray that the Bengals don't call him up because Russell Wilson is just not the answer that they're looking for. I'll throw it to you here, Secko. With Jackson Dart getting the start, we've seen what he looked like. It wasn't preseason. Of course, that is like a glorified training, as people have said, but he looked great in it. Didn't throw any interceptions, has that scramble ability, can throw a pretty long bomb. How are you feeling about Dart going against the Chargers in his NFL debut?
Yeah, like it's hard to know exactly what that means for primarily Neighbours. I mean, Neighbours is really the only guy that we care about in that offense, especially catching passes that aren't dump offs. So it's hard to know. The preseason was great. It is, I mean, with a grain of salt, you're going to take preseason. He did have 300, I think it was 390 odd yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He used his legs a bit. So as a fantasy option, and so that was all done within, like, it was 47 pass attempts over 3 games. So just more than a regular sort of game quantity of passes. It's at 68% as well. So, like, yeah, he's a guy you want to, obviously, waivers are probably gone. You might have dumped a bit of cash on him. I know I did in one league. Got him by $2 as well, which I was pretty happy about. But he could be nothing. He could be great. It's hard to know. All that we know is Russell Wilson is probably unlikely to play again this year and maybe ever. Question for you blokes: has anybody ever fallen from grace or played themselves out of a Hall of Fame sort of ballot invitation like Russell Wilson has, or
Mav?
Not really. He's probably borderline at this point, but again, he was a lock at one point, wasn't he? So yeah. This start news is interesting. Again, I would have gone through James first before I would have gone through Dart if I was the coach of the New York Giants. I like my young QBs to sit down and learn for a year. Don't chuck them in the deep end too early, because if they don't succeed, they seem to struggle and they can't come back from it. We've seen so many instances in the past where, like, Zach Wilson's a classic example. Should never have started week 1 for the Jets and never recovered because he just didn't have enough assets or weapons, or the offensive line wasn't there, or he just didn't know the game well enough at that point. At the NFL speed, it's a different game compared to college. So, look, I'm not saying Dart's going to be a bust. I'm not saying that Dart's going to struggle, but it's just a massive risk to chuck out a massive asset like it is in week 4 of a season where you're 0-3 already. Chuck out Jameis Winston. You've got nothing to lose there, right? You've got really nothing to lose. If he comes out and drops 400 yards and 3 touchdowns and perfect, you got your plan. You got your succession plan. In Dart, sitting there and watching and learning the play calling. And if he comes out and shits the bed, Jameis Winston, who cares? Who cares? He's not the future of the franchise. So I just hope that they don't come out there and try and ruin Jackson Dart straight away. And if you bench him after a couple of weeks, he's not good enough, then you got a bigger problem, right? So, you just want to kill the kid's confidence early on.
Yeah, well, hopefully he's got enough confidence to come out the gate and just take the ball by the horns, because clearly what they're doing with Russ just isn't the answer. This is probably a bit of coach pressure with Brian Daboll, definitely on the hot seat as he heads into this year. They're probably thinking, if I throw out the rookie and if he looks okay, I might buy myself a year. But, if they go throw out Jameis Winston for a few weeks, and that's just absolutely no way around it. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter for the Giants, but probably for Daboll, he'd be long gone by that point. So, one to look out for. Yeah, he probably is gone anyway, to be fair. So, he's throwing it out. Maybe Dart looks the best out of Winston and him in training and everything as well. That could be something, but we will know. It'll be a tough game for the young guy against the Chargers.
Yeah, the other thing is New York as a market, like the fans just get they get on something and run with it. Yeah. Very hard. The front office sort of has to listen to that sort of fan base, which sucks because Mav's right. Like, ideal world, look at Tom Brady sat for a year. Patrick Mahomes sat for a year. There's been a bunch of guys who have sat for a year and been a lot better for it. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers sat for a year. These are 3 of probably the best. I don't know, Aaron Rodgers, whatever, but the best sort of half, dozen odd quarterbacks of all time who sat, right? So it definitely, in an ideal world, you do that. But New York's a different beast, and 2025 is a different sort of situation than we've had in the past. So they sort of had no choice once they decided to move on to sort of go to Dart and just ride it out. So good luck. Hopefully he kills it.
Yeah, you could hear the reactions in the Chiefs game as soon as I think Dart came in. Everybody was happy for that one play, and then Wilson came out and he just copped so many boos. Just absolutely filled the stadium. So probably was a bit of pressure from all sides, but nevertheless, Jackson Dart in things we love to see. Hopefully, for Malik Neighbours, he gets a big tick up, and they give him a bit more of the short underneath stuff because all it was Russ. He was just taking deep shots into double and triple coverage on Neighbours and was just getting picked for it. So fingers crossed. We like to stay optimistic here. And guys, I will just preface before we get into the trade in and trade outs for this evening. Thanks heaps for throwing in all the comments. We will be getting to them at the back end of the show as per usual. For tonight's trade show, we are changing it up a little bit from last week, just with how the layout will go. We'll start out with our trade outs. I think this will kind of give you an idea. If you are looking to trade out these guys, then when we segue into trade-ins, you might be able to marry up and we might be able to do so on the fly. So starting out with trade-outs in the quarterback position. So we've got a few here. I'll take an easy one and then I'll throw it to you, Secko. Russell Wilson, $18.88 million. He's not playing anymore. He's not starting. Definitely drop him if you do have him. I might even quickly look at what his roster percentage is. I'd expect it wouldn't be that high. 0.2%. So luckily everybody's switched on with Russ. He is long gone. But throwing to you, Secko, 0.2%. So who's the top guy that you're looking to trade out this week in SuperCoach if you have them?
There's a few options here. I mean, like Dak is really, really hard to judge at the moment because we saw how he was when Seti went down. He's a different guy. So his break even's only 18, which sort of means, obviously you can hold. He's not going to lose a lot of money. He might be okay. But if Seti misses 3, which I think be shocked if he doesn't miss at least 3 from maybe 4, it's a long way to sort of, ride out Dak maybe scoring mid-20s at best, just based on the way he looked against to be honest, Chicago are a bad defense, and he really couldn't put up much of a fight. So he's probably one, if I had him, I'd look to move him because his price point is actually not too bad to do that. Another option is Kyler Murray. I'm not sure what his ownership is. I can't imagine it's
0.7%. Yeah, some 1%.
He started sort of at 21 mil, which is an elevated price for him. But we just saw like that, and we'll probably touch on a guy on his team later. But there's something broken in that Arizona offense. So I distance myself from any of them. Not named probably Trey McBride is probably the way I'd go, but Dak's probably the one for me.
Yeah, and looking at Kyler as well, he hasn't been running as much as we'd probably like to see as well. He hasn't put up any rushing touchdowns. 38, 32, and 37 rushing yards. It's don't get me wrong, it's solid, but his passing stats just start lifting him up to where we need to be if his rushing is that low. Throwing to you, Mav, we've got the obvious one, Russ Wilson, Dak Prescott, and also Kyler Murray. Who else have you got for us in the quarterback trade-out slot?
Mate, this is a really easy one. If you own Michael Penix, and you know who you are, you know who you are. And it's 8.1% of you that own Michael Penix.
Wow.
He's currently at a price tag of $10.5 million. So not a lot of money invested into Michael Penix. However, he has a 33 break even, lads. So he's not going to be, the way he's been trending recently, he ain't hitting 33 points in a game. He's probably more looking at maybe half that, the way he's been performing recently. So you're looking at a potential loss here about, $600,000, and he goes down to less than $10 million. So, and he's one bad performance away in the next 2-3 weeks of getting benched permanently for Kirk Cousins, which is crazy to think of in 2025, but he really is. He really is. So if you do own him, and again, you know who you are, you got to go. And I'll give you another one too. I like Dak Prescott call. I really do. But if you also own CJ Stroud, and again, you're at 2.2% owned. There's a few people out there. There's 682 owners, actually, in fact, that own CJ Stroud in NFL SuperCoach. He got to go, boys. He got to go. I guess his job's secure. That's probably the upside. But he ain't making any money, and he ain't getting any good scores. So He got to go too.
Yeah, he has to go. I think Penix is, that's surprising that his ownership is that high. And looking at how he started the year, game 1, he had a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown. Game 2, no touchdowns, 135 yards passing. That was it. And game 3, 2 ints and 172 yards, no passing touchdown. So yeah, just offers you absolutely nothing in terms of fantasy
less
production.
than 100 less than 100 owners in difference in, well, let's say Patrick Mahomes is owned by 2,673 owners in SuperCoach. Michael Penix is owned by 2,567. Less than 100 in difference there.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, boys.
It is ridiculous. The reason why, I mean, trying to make sense of that, which doesn't make any sense to any of us, but is his price point was like he was the third most expensive or third cheapest of the starting quarterbacks. So for anyone that faded, was like, oh, I don't trust JJ or Cam Ward, I'll get smart here and go Penix. That may be a reason. It was about 8.5 or something off the top of my head, maybe 9 million. But yeah, Mav's right. You've seen enough now. He's made his money, even though it wasn't anywhere near as much as he should have. He's definitely got to go.
Awesome. There we have that. That's the quarterback trade outs. I will just quickly throw another one in. Bo Nix, only 1.7% of people have him, but his break even's at 39 and he's worth a cool 21.17 million. Again, there is better options out there. Of course, we don't want to be too trade happy, but if you do have the luxury, you haven't traded it too many times yet, he's definitely a clear person that you can pivot from in that quarterback position. Moving on to running backs. Now, couple of big names off the top, but of course, I'm going to take the layups here. James Conner, Arizona Cardinals running back. If you do have him, and ownership is 2.3%, so 720 of his, he's done for the year. I don't think it's been completely ruled out that he's done for the year, but yeah, he won't be coming back. So make sure you get rid of him. He's at a nice 15.37 mil as well, so you'll be able to get something good in return. Another one, easy one that I'll take, Isaiah Pacheco, 7.47 mil. He's at 7% rostered, and his break even is at 22. He's not the lead back for the Kansas City Chiefs. Doesn't have the passing down role, doesn't have the goal line role, and he gets about 10 carries a game, and he puts up about 40 yards. Not going to give you what you want. If you do have him, you can easily swap him out for a couple of the names that we'll have coming up later on. But Mav, I'll start off with you. Running back position, who are your top trade out players you're looking to move this week?
I'll give you 2 names, boys. Actually, I'll give you 1 name, definitely. Chase Brown. He's a big feature last week. He's owned by 9% of coaches still, so that's 2,841 owners to be exact. He has to go. He has to go this week. He's got a break even of 53. And this is coming off a week 3 performance of 7 points. So he's projected to lose nearly $1.7 to $2 million, depending on how he goes this week. That will take him down to about $12 million, $12.5 million potentially, somewhere around that value. He's currently the 13th most owned RB in SuperCoach land. I'd be finding anywhere possible to get him gone. Honestly, I'm gonna jump the gun here a little bit, boys, and I know this is not part of the show or the structure of the show, but Chase Brown to Cam Scatterbo makes a lot of sense.
Makes too much sense, mate. It makes too much sense. And there's a little teaser for our trade-ins after on. But there you go. Chase Brown, yeah, he's an obvious one. Like Mav mentioned, that's surprising that he's still at that percent ownership as well. That's, I didn't even look to see what he was at. Looking at you, Secko, for your top running backs that you're looking to trade out.
Yeah, before I go, I guarantee you that 9 point whatever percent will be very, very, very much lower come Thursday or come Monday, especially. A couple of big ones, controversial ones, and like we're at the stage of we're still early and trades will get away from you if you get a little bit trigger happy. So I'll preface this by saying this is only if you haven't got other pressing needs. And in week of injuries, which we've mentioned on previous episodes this week, you may not be able to do this. But Derrick Henry is still a gun. He'll make me obviously eat my words as soon as this week. But he's a really good price to move off $20.8 million is a lot of money, can get you a lot of places and pretty much any play you really want. Definitely any running back you want. not named Saquon Barkley, I suppose. But his break-even's 81. So if you're ever considering his buys in 3 weeks, if you're considering moving off him at any point, it's probably best to do it now before he loses some cash. Again, if you've got to cover for a bunch of injured guys, it's not the play. But if you've got a spare trade and you've got Henry, he's fumbled 3 times. Like it's not nothing. He won't get benched. It's not like Ramondre Stevenson fumbling twice in a game. He's gone. He should never see the field again. Henry will get game time. That's fine. He's not going anywhere. They're not starting Justice Hill and Rasheen Ali. However, there's those opportunities. They're 2 of those fumbles in the last quarter. They lost the game because of it. Maybe he won't go for. They won't go to him as much. Maybe he won't go for the aggressive runs as much. There's just something to play there with his BE, his price, and just how he looks different. So he's one guy. In the same way, Saquon Barkley. If this new look for Eagles team comes to play from now on, and they start to throw the ball again because they realise, hang on, we've got a good passing quarterback and we've got 2 elite wide receivers. Why don't we use them? Barkley at 22.5 million, same way, gets a lot of value out of him. Break even 68. He's not hitting that, so he's going to lose cash. So again, if you're going to drop him, he is an option to move off. They're the high price guys. There is one final guy I wanted to mention who I hate to do it because he's one of my boys, one of our boys. Was he my guy for?
I think Mav, potentially.
Mav?
Yeah, I think Mav had him, yeah.
That's my guy.
I wasn't part of the show. I don't know what you're talking
about. It wasn't recorded, so it doesn't count. Travion, I wouldn't do it. I'm just going to preface by saying I wouldn't do this. But in the same way that Marion Hampton was traded out in pretty high rates last week, it's hard to see the way forward for these guys unless something good happens for them situationally. Now, as I mentioned, sort of in passing, Trayvon Henderson had that bit of good luck come his way in the way of both of his running mates fumbling. So if that means anything for an old school coach like Rabel, which I think it will, and I'm hopeful it will, he should get a lot more look in this week and going forward. His break-even's only 4. He's only at $4.8 million. So if you're moving off him, you're going to a Judkins or Scatterbo type to consolidate for some cash. Problem with that is if Henderson gets the run, if he gets a couple of touchdowns and he scores a 43 like Hampton did, he'll reset his break-even very quickly. He'll have a minus 20-odd break-even next week. And inverse, if Judkins has a score of 8, his break-even the next week will be in the positives. So, and Scatterbo's in the same way, right? So it's just be careful with the 1 week projection of a break even. It's very, very easy to look ahead and go, oh, this guy's break even's 30. He's guaranteed to make cash. We got burnt last week. Anyone who went Hampton to Javonte Williams last week is probably going to end up in a net negative cash position in 3 weeks than those that held Hampton and ignored Williams. So just a bit of word of warning. It might look good on the surface, but it's a longer game than just 1 week of break-even cash grabbing.
Yeah, that's a good chat because there were so many people commenting about, what do we do with Henderson? Is he just gone? Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Secko. I'm probably going to hang out at least for just this 1 more week. They do have Carolina. Carolina have been absolutely garbage against the run. So if, we do see more snaps from him after those couple of key fumbles from the guys ahead of him, could be lined up. And before we get on to, I know you go, Mav.
And he's not losing cash. Sorry, he's not losing cash. I'll just jump in with that. His break-even's 4. He's definitely doing that. So 1 more week to see what he does. Even if he makes $500,000, it's still better than nothing, right? So there's that.
Just quickly, 2 things on my end. Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley are going to be great buys in a few weeks, 3-4 weeks. They're going to be great buys. Going to be at a nice, pristine cost. But RJ Harvey, boys, would be actually one. He's owned by 15.3% of teams, 4,828 owners. He's got a break even of 10. And they do play the Bengals this week, but it looks like it's the J.K. Dobbins show at the moment in Denver. So his carries are actually going down in numbers. He's not seeing the volume. So I would probably, if I had RJ Harvey, I would move him on for like a Judkins or a Cam Scatterbo if you want to make more money there. I'm okay with doing that. Genty is also getting a very honourable mention too. And it's a bit of a hot take, don't get me wrong, but he's seeing a lot of carries for really not a lot of work, and no passing work either. No check downs, nothing like that. So it's literally just 17 carries for 60 yards. That's literally all he's getting. So I hope this doesn't occur and continue to happen. I know there's a few managers out there that have actually moved on from Ashton Genty. He does have a break even of 6. So I can understand why you get frustrated with him. But I think we probably have to give him one more week. He has got Chicago this week, and they've got the worst run defense at the moment in the league. So, and again, a lot of injured bodies in that secondary too. So if he breaks out, he's gone. So, and that's his best asset. Once he's there, once he finds a hole, gets to that hole, he breaks out, he's gone for 60, 70 yards. So we're hoping that Genty gets one this week. Shig offensive line. I can understand why you trade him, but probably hold for one more week to see how he goes. If it's another shit week, then his break even is going to be about 20, and then probably get off him then. But until then, I think we just hold for just one more week of data.
Great call, Mav. Yeah, hold on, because that Chicago defense here, like you said, he could walk away with 2 touchdowns. That wouldn't surprise me at all. And again, RJ Harvey, another name that just slipped my mind. He definitely has to go, like Mav mentioned. But you've got a couple of good options there that will be coming up in a little bit. But looking at wide receivers, gentlemen, looking at this list here, I will just run through a couple of names that we had on the show last week. Drake London and Brian Thomas Jr. They're both worth over 14 mil. Their break-evens are both 47, and their offenses look very stinky at the moment. So if you do have those 2 guys, again, they're probably, before they lose too much more cash, that you're probably best to just get off them if you do have them in your squad. They're probably a couple of key trades that I'd be looking to do if I do have those guys. But throwing to you here, Secko, we've got a heap of other names on this list. Which ones stand out here like a sore thumb to you?
Yeah, well, you can add into that list. We didn't mention last week, but Higgins is very much the same. He's a little bit more at 15.5. His break even's 49. He had 1 catch last week, 2 targets. Browning, we've mentioned before. Browning, he may throw it a bit more against lesser opponents. He was facing the Vikings, and Brian Flores really lit him up the entire game. But I just don't think Higgins, if you've got him, I'm not sure what his percentage is, but I imagine it's not super high, but there'll be a few people out there that do have him. I'd move on from him. Outside of that, there's some obvious ones. The injury guys who we touched on earlier, CeeDee Lamb and Mike Evans. If you've got those guys, you can hold. Good thing about those injured blokes is they don't play, so they don't sort of lose cash. They've got high break evens and stuff. So you can sort of wait and choose when to get rid of them. You can use them as loops if they're playing later in the week. So CeeDee Lamb's playing, I think, Monday night or Sunday night football. So you can use him as a loop as long as you've got someone who's playing later to make sure that works. But that's fine. But yeah, the injured guys are probably the low-hanging fruit there. Outside that, I mentioned, only because I mentioned him earlier, Marvin Harrison Jr. in chorus with Kyler. Just he's a bust. Can't do anything about it. He's a bust. He's not coming back. The drops were horrible. He made Kyler's day would have been okay if he had caught those 2 bad drops. But he's obviously got no confidence, and it's not like other sports. You can drop him down to the reserves for a couple of weeks to get some, get some form. He pretty much has to just keep going out there, and he's got a horrible play caller, and he
looks broken.
He's just not look broken. Yeah. So if you've got him, jump off as well. Well, you can. He's only 11.5 mil, so it's not a great price point to go to anyone either. I'd probably just go down to a cheapie if I had him.
Yeah, Marv Harrison Jr. hurts. I mean, I watched that game, and that wide open catch, nobody was around him, threw it straight to his chest, just straight through the mitts. And yeah, there was that much room ahead of him, probably would have went for a score. And yeah, like you said, Secko, they probably win that game as well with the amount of yards and plays that Marv left out there. Yeah, very true. Just looks broken for a 4th overall pick in the NFL. A massive bust so far. But throwing to you, Mav, one thing I will just have to bring up, Jamar Chase. That's probably the biggest question. He's our model on tonight's thumbnail for the show. 21.5 million. Break even is at 38. which that looks a little surprising. I thought it would have been a little bit lower, a little bit higher rather, but 38. How are
He
you
had a
feeling
big
about
score
Jamar Chase?
last week, mate. Yeah, he had a 59, I think, week 2, so that carries over and keeps it down. But yeah.
So yeah, Mav, Jamar Chase, with that being noted, 38 break even, 21.5 million. I think 55% ownership too currently. If you have Jamar Chase, are you looking to move him on? Because Joe Burrow, who's not coming back anytime soon.
Well, I've got him. I'm keeping him. I've got bigger problems and needs than to move on a premium player. I still trust him. Well, to a degree. I'll just back in his talent and hope for the best. And in a few weeks' time, if it's not working out, then I'll probably get rid of him. But at this point in time, there's other things that need to be done first. I'm not wasting a boost. I'm not using it. He's going to lose me money. Cool, I get it. That's fine. But I'm keeping him, holding him, just for the short term. See how it goes. Lad McConkey, boys, 10.5% owned. 3,316 managers own him. He's looking like he's the Warriors of 3 in this team at the moment. Break even of 41. Projection loss of about $1.2 million. He's got to go. I hope he didn't trade in Zay Flowers 2 weeks ago and he jumped on early because he was never a keeper 2 weeks ago. He's not a keeper now. He's now got a break even of 37. He averages, what does he average? I think he averages 24 points a game. So based on his average, he's not going to hit his break even. So he's projected to lose about $800,000 to $1 million. So again, this is why I've tweeted the other day, don't jump the gun, don't trade Jamar Chase for him because this guy is not a keeper at any point in time. Zay Flowers is almost a trade target or trade out target at the moment. He burns you. He scored 4 points, had 1 catch on the weekend. He genuinely will burn you again at some point. They played Kansas City this week, so it's going to be a tough matchup. They've got some good corners. He might break out for a long ball, maybe, but he's very possible of having 1 or 2 catches for minimal yards. He's capable of doing that too. So he's a great Houdini act at his best. Zay Flowers. And also, I will say this as well. It might be a bit harsh, but Keon Coleman has probably ran his course as well. He's currently owned by 10.5% of owners as well. 3,321 owners actually own him. He's got a projection break even of 35, so he's going to lose roughly about $1 million as well. There's no real alpha number 1 receiver there at the Bills. They do have the Saints this week, so hopefully it gets on the board early to get some money in there. But it could just be James Cook all day in the second half. Ray Davis, running backs, Josh Allen, just taking care of the football and just running down the throat of New Orleans. It could even miss their defense. Also gets a couple of touchdown as well to really blow them out. But 35 break even for Keon Coleman is awful, and I'm not really too invested in that score at all. I would be looking to move him on at any place I could.
Yeah, Keon Coleman, good shout. He's another one like Zay Flowers. Bit of a Houdini act, doesn't really have a floor. It's just it's a boom or bust kind of scenario. So he could be scratching their head, and with the Bills, with how they've been playing, they probably don't need him in a lot of matchups as well that are coming up. I know this week they've got the Saints. They won't really need Keon Coleman. He might only have a couple of targets because it'll be the James Cook show for the most part, we think. But that's wide receivers. Moving on to tight ends, gentlemen, there is a couple here, and I feel like I'm obligated to throw out this guy's name. Kyle Pitts, 8.25 mil, current break even of 20. Not a high break even, but just Michael Penix just looks so gross. Absolutely no confidence in Michael Penix. If Drake London isn't getting work, well then Pitts is just going to get not even scraps. He'll just, if the plate will be clean and they'll just throw it at him. There'll be nothing left for Kyle Pitts. So yeah, if you do have him, 8.25 mil. I believe there is a lot of owners out there as well with Kyle Pitts. I will just double check that while we're on it here. But we do have a couple of other big guys.
Can we never mention Kyle Pitts' name ever again in this show?
Tomorrow night, I will be mentioning Kyle Pitts. So yeah, stay tuned.
Make it a rule.
I can't
He's
even find his
contractually obligated. I don't know.
Yeah, obligated. I mean, he's 7.4% owned. So like, there is a lot of people out there, just over 2,300 people. Just move him on. There's better options at that price range. There's a couple of rookies there that are still low and under. But Mav, tight end trade outs for you. Who sticks out?
Well, I don't think I'd be looking to trade any tight ends, to be honest with you. If I had them, sure, if you own like an Evan Ingram, I get it, right? But realistically, unless you're looking to gain somebody or jump on a train of a low break even or something like that, I wouldn't be looking to trade any tight end at this point in time unless you're desperate and you can afford to trade at Brock Bowers. But again, I wouldn't even trade out Brock Bowers. He's there to stay. He's injured at the moment. He's playing through injuries. He's probably here to stay. There's no point moving him on. Who are you going to trade him to? Trade McBride, who's just been slightly better. Like seriously, there's no one else you can really do. Nothing you can do that it's going to be a better outcome for you. So like Travis Kelce, sure, break even of 28 isn't like horrible. I mean, they played Baltimore this week, so possibility that he might be okay. But I'm not trading at anyone, boys. There's no point doing it. I mean, if you have Sam Laporta, sure, he's an option as well. But no, I'm not. There's too big a need unless you're cruising and your worst player that you've got is tight end, and you can afford to burn a trade at tight end, sure. But no point. In my opinion.
How about this, Mav? Say you have this guy plays for the Broncos, you along with 1,300 other people. Evan Engram, 8.6 mil.
Oh, yeah.
Are you trading him out?
He's the only one that's going to go, boys. He actually had a DMP on the weekend because he actually didn't get a catch. That's how bad he went. Oh, did he even play? I don't even know if he played.
I think he was injured. I think he was laid out, but it doesn't matter. Even if he's playing, he's no good.
There's no point. Yeah. So, just tight ends, boys. It's like kickers and defenses. Unless you sort of really have to, where you're jumping on a low break-even train like a Tucker Craft last week, there's no real substance or purpose in actually trading tight ends, in my opinion.
Secko, what about for you with the tight end landscape? Are you looking to move anybody, or are you kind of in line with Mav?
No, well, I'm kind of in line with Mav because the question is, and we'll get to it obviously later, there's probably only one person that you trade into. So, again, there's other problems to worry about. You don't want to be running a boost in the second week after your first trade week. So I mean, I really can't see a scenario where you wouldn't rather be trading a dead rookie to a cash making guy, or a Lamb / Chase / London PTJ, Evans, McConkey, Higgins out, and preferably all of them. So look, tight ends, it's unfortunate. You sort of stick with what you've got. Hopefully you got Warren because he's making money and scoring as like a tight end too, and then one of Bowers or McBride. I've still got Kittle on my bench because why not? Warren's doing enough job. If you've played normal fantasy for years, you know that tight ends, you sort of take a 9-point game from a tight end and go, that's all right, let's let him get a 3 and just sort of move on, unless you have one of the big guys. So it's not really much of a trade out week or a trade in week in tight ends. Just sort of leave them, unless you got sort of Loveland is the only thing. If you've still got Colson Loveland, he's probably a guy who can definitely go. He's injured. He's done his hip. Looks like it's a few weeks at least. So if you've got him, you can toss him out to hopefully go up to someone we're going to mention in the trade-ins. Stay tuned for that.
Yeah, and moving on to the last couple of positions, I might even loop these in because I don't really want to spend too much time on either of them. Starting off with kickers, the one that stuck out just like an absolute sore thumb, Younghoe Koo. He's at 10.24 million. He got dropped by the Falcons, and I believe the New York Giants have picked him up on their practice squad. But still, he's playing behind Gano, and at 10.24 million, just get rid of him. It's just not worth it. I'll quickly have a look and see what his roster percentage is as well. 3%, so 962 people. There is still plenty of people that might have him out there, but it's just not worth it. Mav, any quick kickers from you that you're looking to drop, or same thing as tight end?
I don't want to talk about kickers, man.
That's it. We'll move on to DST, and I'll throw this one to you, Secko. The only one here that I've really got, and again, probably going to be the same boat. There's other holes that we need to be fixing besides tight end, kicker, and defense. The one that kind of stuck out to me purely just based off the injuries that have taken place, 49ers, their star edge rusher, Nick Bosa, is gone for the year with an ACL tear. They're only at 6.1 mil. They've looked all right, but are they a potential trade-off, or again, it's just a luxury? You shouldn't be moving defenses at this point.
Yeah, no, I think it's a luxury. I'm pretty sure 49ers have a late buy as well. So if you've got them, just stick with it. They're not a bad defense. There's no points bonus to be made from. You can't jump on an ascending defense. Like, for example, everyone was all hot and bothered about getting Denver Broncos in at the start of the year and set and forget and all the extra points it'll give you. They've gone 28, 0, and 18. So, and you're stuck. They've already lost a mil. They're going to lose a bunch more. Their break even's 40 something. Again, you're going to keep them. But when it comes to the buys, you might want to free up some cash for them. But really, tight ends, you can throw a blanket over them. Bloody Minnesota got, how many points they get? 60 something points.
60,
last
yeah.
week. It's just a bit of a crapshoot. So you can pretty much these trade episodes. We're probably going to talk most weeks about just leaving these last three positions. Hopefully, you've got something that's workable there. Ideally, a loop for this last week would be beneficial. But you've got injured guys you're probably going to carry anyway. So for DSTs, just leave it. You shouldn't have the spare trades to do it.
There we go. There's all of our trade outs amongst all positions. Let's get into the more positive vibes, the fresh vibes. We've got our trade-ins for the week in week 4. Starting off with quarterback again, I will take a nice easy layup and pose this question to you, gents, here. So Jackson Dart, we know that he's just been named for the New York Giants. He's probably going to have at least, if he sucks, he's probably going to have 5 weeks at the minimum to play out this year before I think they even look to do anything. So he's at 4.3 mil, hasn't played a game yet. He's only had a couple of snaps, so his price rising. Will we have a fresh 3 weeks with Jackson Dart leading up? Because I think he's had a couple of rush attempts and pass completion.
He hasn't registered. Yeah, he hasn't scored enough to register points. So he's effectively gone as a DMP each of the 3 weeks.
So with that,
2 more games. Yeah.
So you're better off, I guess, looking at Jackson Dart. We just got to kind of wait and see how these next 2 weeks go, and if he cashes in, then we can, look to kind of move around once those price rises take effect.
Yeah, you can wait and see how it goes. It's like the same situation we had last week where we got to move them, what we call in the bubble, when they're about to go up or down in price. So he's the same price as or slightly less than Cam Ward was. If you've got him, it might be good timing in 2 weeks to jump off him. Obviously, McCarthy, people are holding him. It'd be in time with his buy, which is funnily enough. But I don't think you're going to hold JJ McCarthy for 3 non-playing weeks to get rid of him at his buy anyway. Or you can whoever else you're carrying, so another cheaper option or another option, you might go down and save some cash, sort of do some bye week manipulation, if you will. For that 1 week to go down, bank a bit of cash. I'm thinking, for example, week 7. Lamar and Josh Allen are both on bye. You may look to move Josh Allen down to Jackson Dart in week 6. This is all hypothetical. His break even might be 120 by that stage. Who knows how he's going to score, to bank some cash and then get Josh Allen back for 4 million cheaper, while Jackson Dart's making cash. So it might be a situation where that comes to play. But yeah, sit on Dart and wait. Other than that, trade-ins, we've got my boy from last week. I bought him in. Very happy with that. I think it's sort of up and up. Is Drake May at 19.64 mil. His break even is, which I thought I'd put in there, but I obviously did not include. It's around the teens. I know that. He's not going to make you much money, but he's a guy who can score a pretty solid floor because he can run enough. And he tends to sort of make enough big plays to score touchdowns. So if you're looking at a trade in for someone off one of the guys we mentioned at the top, Drake May at under 20 mil from a Kyler or a Bo Nix, I think is a really good choice, because you want to sort of get off that dead weight while you can.
Love it, Drake May. Yeah, no pushback from me when it comes to Drake May. He's an absolute stud and averaging 40 points a week currently after the first 3. Mav, we've got one more name on this list, but you might have a nice little other sneaky pod that you're looking to trade in. But quarterback positions for week 4, who have you got?
The way I'm going to be playing this game, boys, and I actually own Drake May. I had him from the start. I'm the less than 2% owners that had him. Again, that's not a flex at all because my team's just okay. It's not a flex, but I got one right, which is good. But anyway, one for me is the way that I play this game, boys. I'm not looking to go sideways trades with QBs at all. If I'm trading a QB, again, we're talking about, I suppose, situations. If you own certain players, I get the sideways trades, right? Like to a Drake May or to someone like that, right? But I'm playing this game to play it. The end game is to get Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. That is the end game here. So yes, Josh Allen's got a break even of 75. You can wait probably a couple of weeks to get him in. He'll be at a cheaper price. He might be at 25 mil. Again, if you trade him in this week to lose money, I don't really care, to be honest. You know what he's going to do. But that's my end game, right? So if I'm trading in, I'm trading out a QB. I'm trying to get in Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. That's the final boss here. Is getting those two players. And yes, they're probably going to be the most owned players in the league by the end of the season, but they're by far the best two in their position. So again, I'm going to be saying this every single week. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, boys. I'm looking to trade them in every single week wherever possible. I'm happy to get off Jalen Hurts to get to Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. So just a matter of when and how. But that's how I play this game, boys. I'm not looking to do sideways trades.
That's the end game there for Mav, and honestly, probably for a lot of people out there having Allen and Lamar. But if you are a little bit strapped for cash, you haven't, you're still trying to look for a little cheaper options to kind of swing in that might be able to make you some cash in the process. Drake May, as Secko mentioned, just under 20 mil, but a guy that's just over 20 mil and has been on fire the first 3 weeks. Caleb Williams, 20.19 mil. He's at 1.6% owned. He probably will still make a little bit of cash. They've got Las Vegas this week. Defense isn't anything to be scared of. He might be able to get you up to make you a few extra mil to get you to the Lamar or Allen by the end of it. So if you've got, the Kyler, Bo Nix, as we mentioned, could be some good options there to move off that will still make you a little bit of cash. But running backs, I feel like the running back trade-ins for tonight, we'll probably spend a little bit more time on just because there is some really, really hot names that we have there. I'm not even going to take any of the free layups, but I will throw it to you, Secko, first, and then we'll go to Mav. Your main two trade-in running backs that you've got here as we look into week 4.
Yeah, so I'll go big to start with. In the same vein as what Mav's just said there, there's sort of two ways. I mean, as he said, there are situations where sideways trading, you may not, you don't want to waste another or use an extra boost to get to Lamar if you just haven't got the cash. If the cash doesn't work, maybe it's not the right time. Or Josh Allen's going to lose money. If you wait a week, you can get him in 2 trades rather than 3, or that sort of scenario. So be careful of just going at all costs for the top dog. But in the running back area, if you can find a way to turn, if you still got Chase Brown, for example, and you can find the $5 million to go to Jonathan Taylor, I think you just ride that train now. He's just a stud. My only, as a collect, what was that?
What's Jonathan Taylor's break even? Just mention it to the boys.
It can't be very high.
-9, Secko.
Yeah,
-9.
Oh, wow.
9. Yeah,
wow.
So he's gonna make, how much is he gonna make? 2.5, 3 mil, minimum 2 mil.
Yep.
So if you haven't, I've probably missed the boat. I'm annoyed that I went CMC over him last week. But anyway, the knock on him, I think, from the collective fantasy community was that the offense is going to be pretty crap and limited opportunities, and they may give Richardson the keys if Jones stinks it up, much like Wilson and Dart happened. And if that happens, then his value is pretty much mute because Richardson's A, useless, and B, going to run it in Cam Newton style. But given that's all fixed up, and now we somehow think that the Colts are a top insert number here offense. I still don't believe it as Daniel Jones, but we'll get to that stage. This guy's he's just set up to win. They've got a great offensive line. So if you're going to make one big splash play in the running backs, not a lot of injuries to force this. So you're going to have to move someone on probably that you're not really necessarily super keen on doing, or you have a reserve of cash. If you can find a way, JT it, I would do that. That's my biggest recommendation because he's just going to keep. He's going to be a keeper at the end of the year, and their buy is like week super late. So anytime you can get him, just get him in.
Yeah, I think I might need to look at him potentially down the line. But yeah, like you mentioned, Secko, a lot of guys, they probably already have some nice primos and decide way trade it. Yeah, we don't really like to burn those trades, but we've got a couple of cheaper options. And Mav, throwing it to you here for these, and of course any other name that you might have that you want to bring in as a running back trade.
Well, I mean, Judkins is the obvious one, right? On the bubble, looked really good last week. He's like, he's got a negative 27 break even, so projected back around about $2 million. So that's going to put him to about 6.5, depending on how he goes this week. So he's the obvious one. So again, any correction trades still at this point, if you're not sure about Travion Henderson, or if you're holding like a Chase Brown or anything like that, or a guy that you're not sure about at running back and you want to get off him, RJ Harvey would be another one too. Like, sure, fine, make the trade. Another cheapie I've got for you is obviously Cam Scatterbo. He's at $6.3 million. Only problem with Cam Scatterbo, he might be capped for the next 3 weeks. I think that's when Tracy comes back. But again, in those 3 weeks, Cam Scatterbo should make plenty of money in that time. He's got a negative. What's his break even? It's really low, like really, really low. It's negative 35 break even. So he's projected to make 2.6, maybe even $3 million, depending on how he goes this week. So that's really juicy. That's going to see him to around about $8.5, $9 million, give or take. So again, if he has another big week, negative break even, pathway to getting a primo in a month's time. And I'll give you one more name, boys. This is the name that could be better at Cam Scatterbo. It really could be. Could be better than Judkins. Could be a top 12 running back, fellas. Could be. The sky is the limit for this man, and he's got the opportunity. His name is Trey Benson, fellas. He's on the clock. His time to shine. He's got a -1. He's got a 1 break even. That's his number at the moment. But again, a massive beneficiary of James Conner going down. He's got rest of season value too. So he could be a sneaky option. He could be even a keeper for the remainder of the year, depending on how he goes. So again, yes, we're holding him to make money. That's the whole sole purpose of Trade Benson and trading in. Trade Benson is to make some coin. But how much coin can he make is going to be the real question. I've got massive, high upside on this guy, man. I really do. I think he was a premium handcuff in the competition in fantasy football and in traditional fantasy. Now it's his time to shine. Trade Benson, come through the door, my friend, because it's your time. So yes, he's at $5 million. So yep, sure, boys. If you got to again, Chase Brown, another one. If you want a trade down option, fine. You can go to Trade Benson. You're holding running backs at around $8, $9, $10 million that aren't doing anything. Sure, bring in Trade Benson. Again, the other 2 running backs are fine that I mentioned as well, but this guy's got real rest of season potential.
Honestly, I think I might be sold. I was kind of more so leaning towards Judkins, purely just the price. But the way, Mav, you've just put that on a platter, you've cracked that door wide open, rolled out the red carpet, nice and tidy for Trey Benson. Very, very hard to pass up. Just over $5 million. Again, the ownership would be very low, but we expect that to change, of course, with that James Conner news. But I mean, hopeful that the Cardinals, because they do love to run the ball, their passing attack just looks woeful outside of Trey McBride. So definitely could be slated to get a whole heap of work. And he's looked really good on the limited touches that he's had this year behind James Conner. Their O-line's not too bad as well. But yeah, we'll just have to see. Hopefully, Amari DiMarcano doesn't get too many opportunities, as he shouldn't, but he could just be a little pain in our side. But Trey Benson, Scatterbo, Judkins, they're the big 3 if you are looking to get cheaper. Of course, RJ Harvey, like Mav pointed out, very easy swap for either of those guys. And JT, if you can, and have the luxury to, he's definitely going to be a nice big piece for weeks to come. Moving on to wide receiver. I'll throw one out here just to get a little bit spicy. I put this in, I think, as soon as trades opened up on Tuesday night, just to try and see what kind of feedback I would get. And again, it's not locked in yet. The week 4 hasn't started, but I was playing around with moving on from Jamar Chase to bring in, and this guy's very controversial after the first 3 weeks, but Matthew Golden rookie for the Green Bay Packers, 4.4 mil. And my kind of mindset was, I am losing a bit of faith on Jamar Chase, and I'm just trying to make as much cash as I can. I think Golden has a really, really big week against the Cowboys. They look absolutely horrid. With that being said, Josh Jacobs could be the main guy, but I think for Golden, it might only take one big play, one big pass to finally connect from Jordan Love. They've been inches close to a couple of big plays for Golden that he's just missed out on, that Love is either over or underthrown. But yeah, for me, Golden, 4.4 mil, hasn't had, any real price. I think he's gone up 50 grand or something like that. So definitely still a lot of meat left on the bone. Secko, I'll throw this one to you. And it doesn't need to be moving from Jamar Chase to Golden, but is Golden a potential trade in if you're looking for a cash grab, or is there better options out there?
It's potential. There's definitely a potential option. Like he looked a lot better. He started the game really well last week against Cleveland.
Yep.
I'm just trying to think of the reasons why it's a bad idea. Because I'm just not sold on him. He's one play away from just having a massive day though at any time. So Kraft was injured. Love doesn't look great. Let's be honest. He was playing Cleveland, so we'll be able to judge a lot more on Monday when he's played. I'm not going to say possibly the worst defense in the league. Look, it's a pod move. A lot of people have jumped off him over the last 2 weeks. To jump on him now is a good pod move because he's going to make some money. And you may get a good score out of it as well. But there's not a lot of decorate options. So to be honest, if you're looking in that less than $5 million range, there's not a heap of options this week at receiver. So to your question of maximizing cash from Chase or anyone, there's worse options because there's not really much else.
And with that, Secko, is there any cheaper options besides Golden that are worth mentioning in the wide receiver room?
There's one cheapie who I've mentioned a bunch of times, and people are probably sick of me mentioning him. Alec Ayamana. He's the wide receiver from the Titans. I was almost going to say wide receiver 1 then, but I can say wide receiver 1 of the Titans. He's clearly the most reliable receiving target for Cam Ward. So take that as you will. It's not a slam dunk, but this guy is priced at 5.45 mil. His break even's minus somewhere 20 odd. I had it up, but I've just flicked off it. Low break even, minus 22. So if you want someone who's going to make money, what was Golden's break even again, Mull? 4. So
it's very low.
Iron Man is probably going to make more cash. If you can go up the extra $1 million to him, I would go his way. And the other one we mentioned a lot last week. A lot bought him in last week as well. It's Rome Odunze. His break even is still minus 25. It was minus 35 or 41 last week, maybe, if I remember correctly. He's the clear number 1 for Caleb Williams, who we just spoke about in the quarterback. So ascending talent, ascending offense. He's the guy. And again, they've got I think they've got a pretty cushy matchup. Yeah, Las Vegas. So they should be fine to put up points. So if you haven't got him from last week, he made a fair bit of cash, but still not too late to get on.
So we've covered a lot of cheaper priced options here. Throwing it to you now, Mav. Is there any other kind of mid-price guys or primos that you're looking to bring in this week at wide receiver?
Well, primos, I'll give you 2 off the bat. So if you want to upgrade or looking to upgrade, there's 2 guys off the bat. It's Puka Nacua. Would be one of them. He's got a break even of 16, so looking to make $1.5 million there. He looks safe as houses, looks really good. That's not a bad one. If you're looking to upgrade, if you've got money in the bank, time to get on him now before his price rise. And Amon-Ra St. Brown would actually be another one too. -6 break even. He's currently at $19 million, projected to make $2 million, and they've got Cleveland this week, so that might be a bit of a tougher matchup for him. But he's good enough to at least churn out a good score against any defense. It's really they're pretty damn good. But they're the 2 primos I'll be looking at. Another, I'll name a third primo, and that's JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's currently at a break-even of 12. They've got Arizona this week, so that should be a nice little favourable matchup for him. He's at $15 million. He's also currently the 6th best wide receiver at the moment in fantasy football for SuperCoach. So he looks like he's a pretty safe option any given week. Rolls really good, consistent. That's fine. As a mid-priced option, boys, I want to get your opinions on this one because this one's popped up quite a lot over the last couple of days. But Trey Tucker has actually got a lot of interest in SuperCoach. Now, he's currently at $10.7 million. He's got a negative 24 break even, right? So people are trying to jump on that train. He's going to make about $2.3 million. They're backing him up off that 3-tutty performance he had last week. They've got Chicago coming up this week. I'm not sure if I'm really into Trey Tucker personally. I would rather go Roma Dunze in the same game. But I can see why people will be trading in Trey Tucker. He has had a lot of targets in the first 3 weeks. Pretty surprising. But again, there is some red flags there, right?
Secko, do you want to start off with this one, mate?
It just, yeah, like to me, I get it, and it has to be mentioned, and people are going to be gaga. So I think he went for $60-something in one of my leagues, and no one else bid, which is always quite funny. But anyway, it's a 2-week cash play. I said it about Javonte last week. I'm going to say it about this guy. What happens when he has 8 points and his break even is 18 next week, and then he has 8 points again, his break even's 41, right? You're forced to trade him out then. And yes, $3 million is great, and everyone loves a bit of $3 million injection, but can you really see Trey Tucker at $600,000 cheaper than Roma Dunze, keeping up anywhere near the same level? So I get it. I could be wrong, of course. He might be the man. We all think Bowers is going to be better when his knee's not as bad. Well, most of us do. I think Myers is a lot better than Trey Tucker, personally. I'm just a bit concerned about what happens when he goes back to every other game of his career. That's my issue.
Yeah, it seems like
he's had one other good game.
Yeah, it seems like a big play of trying to cash in on last week's points. And like looking at it for Trey Tucker, I think for me, probably in the whole year, he might have 3 games that are probably going to help your team if he started. And one of them was last week. So, there's probably another 2 there, probably at most. And also Dante Thornton, he's still coming through the ranks for those guys. He looks a little bit more explosive, but still a rookie, so he might even wedge into that role for Trey Tucker. But yeah, it just sounds like you're chasing last week's points on that one. But
just
one guy
on Trey Tucker.
Sorry,
I'll just go on. Yeah, I'll just go on Trey Tucker. I've just looked on SuperCoach. It's really good, even though there was no SuperCoach NFL last year. They still have the stats as if they did play last year. So you can actually go into the player stats from 2024, and Trey Tucker had 4 scores above 20 points for the year last year. So he had one who's probably had 12 single-digit scores. Yes, it's different, but it's not that much different. This is I always sort of say you need to see it more than once for it to really show me anything. And anyone can have a breakout game. Hunter Henry just had bloody 90 yards and 2 touchdowns or whatever, 100 and something yards. So, that's it. You can go back and have a look at the stats and see if players have any sort of thing in their history to tell you this is replicable before you invest too much. If he was $5 million, absolutely, you invest in nothing. You're going down to him, but what is he? 10.8. It's a big investment for me.
Yeah, and probably just one last name before we get to tight end trade-ins, looking around that mid-priced and purely based on the injury that occurred to CD Lamb. George Pickens, 11.83 mil. He's at 4.3% owned. He can have some big weeks. He can score a lot of touchdowns as well. And with that CD Lamb, he's going to be the number 1 option that they have, along with a guy that we're going to be talking in the next tight end segment here as well. So he could be a nice little pivot. If you've already got a Dunze and you're looking for another mid-price guy, Pickens could be slotted for a nice juicy role over the next 2 or 3 weeks. But Tight end, we've got here, and I will segue and I'll throw this to you, Mav. I believe you were bringing up this guy quite a bit during the preseason. And of course, with CD Lamb going down, Jake Ferg, he had 13 targets this week against the Bears, 12 receptions. He's at 7.72 mil. Is he an option for you, Mav, that you'd be looking to bring in Jake Ferg for the Cowboys?
Yeah, he would be. He would be. Again, be very cautious, right? Because they're playing Green Bay this week. So, again, a very solid defense. Look, the role should still be solid, and you should still see plenty of like targets. Doesn't mean he'll get completions or catches from them, but targets should be healthy. Now, Jake Ferguson's also been a nice little safety blanket for Dak over the last couple of years as well when he's been healthy. So Dak loves using Jake Ferguson. The connection's genuinely there. He does have a break even of -14, so he's going to roughly make about $1.5 million on average, roughly 1.5, 1.6, depending on how he goes. So not a bad trading target if you're carrying a guy in tight end that you're not sure of. Again, I don't think I'd be trading in tight ends personally because, again, Jake Ferguson, I don't think he's a keeper for the remainder of the year. So you're literally trading him in to get rid of him in like 3, 4, 5 weeks to see that he gets healthy. So it's probably not something I wouldn't do personally. But if you're desperate, if you own Evan Engram, if you own anyone else,
Colston Loveland. Yeah.
Loveland, you want a slight upgrade, you want to put $2 million into him to make more money, then sure, I get it. And if you have that luxury that you're able to move tight ends freely without doing anything else, sure, I get it. But be very cautious this week as well because it is a tough matchup against Green Bay, and it could be a very low volume game for all wide receivers in Dallas. We've seen it so far in fantasy. First 3 weeks for fantasy against Green Bay, they have a fantastic defense and make the game pretty boring to watch. So, that's great for a coach, but not good for a fantasy purpose.
And the only other guy that we have here, and Secko, I'll throw him to you, he was one of my guys to start the year. Again, in the same matchup that Jake Ferg has, Green Bay versus Cowboys, how are you feeling about Tucker Kraft as a trade-in target for week 4?
Yeah, probably not as much as last week. I still think he can very much be a keeper. I still think that top 2 tight end is in his range of outcomes. So you can, if you want to, you can trade into him. Don't do it this week. He's got to buy next week. So now's not the time to be trading in a guy at $11 million to then sit for a week and then because you just don't want to do that, right? So last week might have worked because you had a couple of weeks out of him. The injury was a bit of a blessing for those wanting to bring him in. Hopefully you didn't. If you still did, it didn't necessarily work out. I get why he did it, and the idea was there, but he just with that knee not practicing all week, he was actually the news was he might be out for multiple weeks. So the fact that he played was great, but wait 2 weeks, get him in going into week 6. You can get off Travis Kelce, hopefully not lose too much money out of doing that. That might be the play then, but that's pretty much it. As we said in the trade outs, tight ends probably don't have to do too much unless you're sort of forced to with an Engram or a Loveland type situation.
And so that's pretty much it for tight ends because, we did mention not really a position that we want to be moving around too much. And that goes along with the next and final 2 that we have in for the trade-ins. Looking at kickers, Tyler Loop, if you don't have him, he's at 54.1% owned, 5.95 mil. So he's already made over a couple of mil there. And also Spencer Strader for the Indianapolis Colts. He's at 9.7 mil, made just under 3 at 2.7 mil. And he's at 5.2% owned. Mav, I'll throw it to you quickly before we get to defenses. Are you looking, like, say if you've got, who's someone doghouse that costs a whole heap? I mean, Harrison Butker, he did okay. But Chris Boswell put up 6 points last week. If you have him and you don't have Tyler Loop, do you feel like the trade's been missed, or would you still just save 7 on mil and just get Loop in, who's probably going to perform the same as Boswell as we look at it when it's all said and done?
I don't want to talk kickers.
But yes is the answer. Yes is the answer. Get Loop in. It's fun.
There we go. There we go. And defense, again,
I'll
very same
answer
scenario.
for him.
Very same scenario. Well, that pretty much covers it. I'd imagine that'd be the same answer there. But defense, again, the only real name that I've got here is the Cleveland Browns, just because they have looked really, really strong. Again, but their home and away splits is a little bit night and day. So we'll see what they do this week when they're on the road. But yeah, could be a nice little option there at 5.43 mil. So yeah, could be a little one there, but that's really much it for trade-ins and trade-outs for tonight. We will jump in. We've got our Unlimited League over on SuperCoach. I will just quickly check 660 people that we've had overall in the Unlimited League, which has just been absolutely great. We will highlight the winner for week 3 and also give a chance. If you are listening to this, I will throw it up. Please get in contact with us so we can sort out your weekly prize. To recap that, we've got a weekly standard squeeze pack of 4-in-1 going to the weekly winner each week. And then also to mention our friends over at NFL Helmets Down Under, the overall champion for the Unlimited League out of 660 people. There can only be one. We'll get a custom mini NFL helmet, which is going to look absolutely awesome. We're also going to have one for the winner of our Content Creators League. I was hoping that would be myself, but after Mav put me to the sword, I don't think I'm a contender anymore. But before I pull this up, NFL Helmets Down Under, the link is in the description below to their web store. They have dropped today some new signed NFL memorabilia and full-sized helmets as well. I know I'll be checking it out here after this show just to kind of see what they've got. Maybe some Bills gear. Be hard to say no, but definitely check those guys out. The link is in the description below. Before the winning team, juicy, very juicy. For the winning team of week 3, Bosa Bandits, well done. Put up a whopping 509 score. You can see his team there up on the screen, and I will just kind of pull it up and I'll quickly run through what his team panned out. So this was Luke. Luke, if you are watching, Bosa Bandits, please get in contact with us. He had the big C on Lamar Jackson to start the week with 54. And then on his bench, he's got JJ McCarthy. In his running backs, Jameer Gibbs, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, and Chase Brown. So he put up 509 with Chase Brown on his team. That's pretty impressive. He's got Hampton and Genty on the bench. Wide receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka Nacua, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Roma Dunze, Egbuka, and Ted McMillan. Honestly, those 6, they look super stout. You've got the young rookies in there that can produce at a starting level. And then on the bench, Travis Hunter and Matthew Golden. Tight ends, Brock Bowers, Tyler Warren, Colson Loveland on the bench. Tyler Luper's the kicker with Jake Elliott on the bench. And the defense, of course, he's got Minnesota Vikings. They put up a whopping 60 points. So well done there, Luke, on having that little POD for this week. 49ers defense on the bench, and then Danny Dimes in the flex. So as we look at this, gents, as it is our trade-in and trade-out show, of course, got to give our flowers to Bosa Bandits. Well done. Make sure you get in contact. We'll send you your prize. But any ideal trade-outs that stick out to you from this team? And I'll throw this to you first, Mav.
Yeah. Well, first of all, he's lucky that the Vikings went off, so he probably owes them a little bit of a bit of due. But look, Chase Brown's got to go. He's probably well aware of that. That's going to happen. So he's got endless opportunity there to do, if he goes downgrades or upgrades. I don't know how much money he's got in the bank. Let's hope he does have some money in the bank, because he can do something all right there. He can probably go get a Jonathan Taylor. Potentially, depending on how much money, but he could also go Cam Scattermo, trade Benson Judkins as well. So, he's fine there. And then outside of that, he's probably got the luxury of moving on to Jake Elliott, to be honest with you. The rest of the team looks pretty good. You keep Danny Dimes, hold Danny Dimes for a little bit and let him roll, let him cook, as they say. And yeah, maybe Jake Elliott can go, Loveland can go, but outside of that, he's got a pretty good team. They've got to sit on those players for a little bit, so they're going to make some cash for him. He's looking good.
Super solid. So yeah, the main takeaway, Chase Brown, he's going to go. But Secko, quickly from you, he's got Travis Hunter there at the bench at 4.7 mil. Are you just moving on from him at this point? Yeah. I mean, even if you've got, like, he doesn't really, besides Chase Brown, no other real glaring holes. Are you looking to pull the trigger on moving Travis Hunter as well before week 4?
Yeah, that's a glaring one for me. Obviously, Chase Brown is, but second to that, Hunter has to go. His break evens heaps. He's not playing on offense. He's just a broken pick. Sucks. He's only 4.7. So yeah, I would honestly go personally. I'd go Brown and Hunter, and that becomes what's that? 19, yeah, 9.3 mil. Hopefully, you have a bit in the bank, like 7 mil to get JT for Brown, and then just go down to whoever you can for Hunter. Elliott, it's so funny. Elliott's 9.71 million, exact same price as Spencer Schrader, who's got a -9 break even from Indy. So if you are going to move Elliott, you can straight swap him for no cash, and just get a guy who's going to make some money. So Loop and Schrader both -9 break evens, but yeah, that's too much kicker talk. I'd go Brown and Hunter, and fix that.
Awesome. There we go. Thanks heaps, Bosa Bandits. Overall, week 3 rank was 25. So well done. Great to see the top of the Insight League cracking the top 30 there. Before we get on to the comments, thanks heaps everybody in advance for throwing these all in. I will just mention, if you are watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button there. We absolutely love it. It means a lot, and it costs you absolutely nothing as well. And it's a good way of getting our shows out into more like-minded people that are fantasy and SuperCoach absolute lovers. Moving on to our comments, we'll start this here from the top and run this through. IJ, New South Wales is still the best state. Public holiday the following week for us in New South Wales. Well, they just go in state of origin, mate. I'll just throw that one in there before we go. SuperCoach Cup this week. It is, yeah, it just started off. So Mav rattled that one at the top. Make sure you do check in your SuperCoach tab at that SC Cup if you have made it. From Haggy, thanks for throwing this one in here. Derek Henry to Jonathan Taylor, a good trade. Secko, would you do this if it was your team?
If I had no other trades to do, I would. It's pretty much the same. I think they're the same price. So yeah, I would do it. I would do it if I wanted to move on. I think probably got other options to trade out ahead, but yeah, if you want to do that, go nuts. I would.
Awesome. And one here from IJ. I'll throw this to you, Mav. Benson, London, Coleman. So yeah, definitely SuperCoach to Scatterbo, Nakua, and Tucker. Yeah, so it looks like Trey Tucker. Yeah, so yeah, trading away Benson, London, and Coleman. So yeah, how do you feel about that one, Mav?
Why? No real reason why you do that. Yeah, I don't understand. I understand the fact you want Nakua in there, but outside of that, Cam Scatterbo, sure, obviously, but. I'm holding.
Yeah. Look,
there's probably other trades you can do.
Yeah, hold on, IJ to Benson. London, if you do have him, he's a nice, easy trade. You can move him to Nakua, and then yeah, just depending on who you else have on that bench in that running back position. But hold on to Benson. Good times are just around the corner for him. Blue Ballers, Zucchini's out, mate. They're out. They're always about. Thanks for tuning in. Mate, punter. Is there a difference between actually fumbling the ball and having the opponent punch it out of the hand or / arm? Well, not really. You know, you're responsible. The only real one that I could kind of think of as memory is Marion Hampton against the Raiders back into the game. I mean, he got hit before he even had the ball handed to him. Like that line just broke down and Max Crosby got through. So that one was a bit tough. That one
got charged. Sorry, that fumble got charged to Herbert in that situation where they don't actually handle the ball. It's a bit of it's a weird quirk of fantasy where they charge the fumble to the quarterback if the running back fumbles it but never actually got a full handle on it, like a full. So, but no, essentially no punter. That's just fumble's a fumble. Just don't drop the ball. Don't let it leave your hands.
There we go. And Zach Crisp, throw this one to you, Secko. Who should I trade Lamb for?
We covered that. We spent a fair bit of time on it. If you can go up to Puka, I think that's our choice. If you haven't got Rome, obviously there's an option to save some cash as well and go to Rome, but not against keeping him as well. If you have other trades to do, you don't have to force him out. He might only miss 1 week. You never know. We'll know a lot more later in the week.
And another one here from IJ. Thanks heaps for all the comments, mate. Got Kelsey and McBride. So again, in that earlier trade, if you do still want to trade 3 pieces, throw in Kelsey instead of Benson. I'd say, and I think we'd probably all be on par with that one there.
Yeah.
Spocky 101, thanks for the comment. Have Hurts and May. Is it worth bringing in Dart to get both on field or Cam Ward? Mav, what do you reckon on this one?
Worth bringing in Dart to get both on field or
Both on field.
or
They
Cam
They should be on field anyway.
Yeah, I don't understand that one. I
Yeah.
assume Hurts and May's
Oh,
on.
he hasn't. He's got someone else in flex, I reckon. He's got a non-QB in flex, and he's got May on the bench, QB2.
Right.
Yeah,
So
so
he's saying should bring in a QB2 and move May to flex. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's no point bringing in Dart until his bubble, really. So, no. To answer your question, you might as well wait 2 weeks and wait to see if Dart's any good or not. Because if you trade in Dart and he's crap, for argument's sake, then you're stuck with him. So, yeah, or he gets injured. To be fair, if he gets injured in the next 2 weeks and you're stuck with him as well. So, no, there's no point bringing him out until he's on the bubble, mate. So, yeah, I would not do it.
wait and see.
And Cam Ward, and second part of that, sorry, Cam Ward's 5.9 million with not minus 14. So you could, but you're paying up a little bit for him there as well to do it. It just sucks. You have 2 quarterbacks that you can't get on field properly.
Heads up. Moving on. Daniel Vensky, thanks for the comment here. Jake Ferguson is really under the radar, and yeah, we've got him there as a key trade in. He's getting a load of receptions, and that's bound to stay up with Lamb. Yeah, it will for the most part while Lamb's out. Again, tread carefully with the matchup against the Packers this week, but they should be trailing for the most part. Could either be a Bowers downgrade or Loveland upgrade. Probably a Loveland upgrade out of the two if you did have to make a choice. Like we mentioned, Bowers is going to be in your team probably rest of season. Yes, he's going to lose a little bit of money and has had a couple of down weeks, but he's injured. He'll bounce back. He's still going to be the clear guy for the Raiders, and Gino isn't afraid to sling it.
Just one thing, sorry, I don't want to keep it too long, but the matchup against the Packers for tight ends hasn't been that bad. They're a great defense, but like Laporta had his only good game, 6 for 70 odd. Ertz had a really good game on that game they played. He had 6 for 60 something and a touchdown. And even Njoku was the lead target and reception earner for Cleveland. So it's the kind of game where I'm with Daniel on this one. He could get another 10 targets and 9 receptions sort of thing, which is good for this format, given that it's PPR. But yeah, I would only do the Loveland up rather than the Bowers down option.
Yep, for sure. Elijah Jung has thrown this in here. Thank you. Thoughts on trading Chase, Lamb, and Ward to Rome, Amon-Ra, and Lamar would mean I'm starting Neighbours, Nico, Puka, London, Rome, Egbuka, and Tet. So he's thrown in 2 little things here. Looking at it, again, thoughts on trading Chase, Lamb, and Ward to Rome. Again, we touched on Mav isn't moving Chase just yet. I'm probably I might look at doing it. Again, I've got Chase to Gold at the moment, but I'll have a bit of a play more around with it yet. But CeeDee Lamb, again, if you have other glaring needs and you can afford to have him on your bench and bring in either Tet or Egbuka, why not? And just wait and see how long he really is out for. But Secko, what are you kind of making of this?
Yeah, I wouldn't boost. Personally, I wouldn't boost for that. I'd probably just keep Chase in that situation, see what you can get from that. It's funny, he said starting. So he wants a Monra, but he's going to start Neighbours, Nico. Hasn't mentioned him there. So, I mean, London's an option there as well. If you are going to boost, I'd probably go London and Lamb, personally. But even Neighbours, let's be honest, we don't know what he's going to do. But yeah, I wouldn't boost. I would just pick the one you're going to get rid of and make the most out of that. Forget the Ward and Lamar bit. You can get Lamar when it works better. You know, less pressing trade outs.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty much London is the one you're looking to move away there. Luke Wiskowski, thanks for throwing in this comment, mate. Bijan Robinson to Jonathan Taylor, 2 sideways. Yeah, probably is. Yeah, probably is. And looking at that state of the Falcons, it's going to be all Bijan because they don't trust Michael Penix. He looks absolutely dog turd. So Bijan's going to take everything that he can handle, and he hasn't had too many touchdowns either as well. So yeah, definitely one to hang on to. You might be able to bring in JT at a later date, depending. IJ's thrown in here again. Another Bijan question. Bijan to Scatterbo frees up 21 mil in the bank to go to next week. could be an option, yeah, depending on how your team lays out. But again, we don't want to get too trigger happy when it comes to trades. We won't have enough to trade away 2 players each week. So if we can limit them, will be best.
Why would you trade the RB4 on the year? You've already got a top 4 running back. Like, there's no point. You're going to trade him back in 6 weeks' time?
Yeah.
You hold him all week. You hold him the whole time. Yeah.
Don't be too consumed by the young rookies coming in that are going to make a heap of money. Just save it. At the end of the day, you're looking to have these rookies to get to a Bijan Robinson or another primo position. So if you've already got them, just try and work away other ways around your team that might have more glaring holds. Again, Jordan L, thanks for on the send. Keep or trade CeeDee Lamb.
Question.
Jen, so are we all on the side of keeping, or are you guys looking to trade CD this week? Secko,
he's already been traded from my team.
Okay.
There we go. I've already made my 2 trades. He's gone.
I'm a trade. Yeah. He'll be 3 weeks. He'll be 3 weeks minimum. So everyone who thinks he might be a week, it's not going to happen. He'll be 3 weeks or 4. You can just move him on. You can get him back in later if you need to. If he's good again. But it's long enough in this game. You can't hold for that long. I'm holding Kittle because I don't trade tight ends. We've mentioned that ad nauseum. So, but yeah, I think you can move Lamb over all other options that have been mentioned.
And on the other side, I'm a keep purely because my team has many other holes that it needs to fill, and I can look at using CD as a loop option if required. IJ, another comment. Thanks for on this in. Is Kraft injured? He was dealing with a knee injury training camp. During training last week. He did play through in Cleveland, but he wasn't 100%. He'll look to bounce back in a good light this week. Daniel Vensky, another question. Thank you. Would you say it's a higher priority to splash for JT now or still go for a cheapie Scatterbo or Junkins? Just feels like the best wide receivers are premiums, so the cash is needed from a RB downgrade. Yeah, honestly, very, very good point here, Daniel, and I'll take the easier way out and I'll throw this to you, Secko. How do you feel about this?
Look, he's right. You want the wide receivers have been the most disappointing as a collective position. There's been a lot of hyped up guys and high owned guys who haven't panned out, whether it's their own reason or injury to one of their teammates. But JT is by no means a priority. You can go with Scatterbo and get Puka instead of JT and Matthew Golden, for example. I think that's the way to go. It's just I'm more having fun on missing JT because I should have got him last week, and now I'm not going to be able to get him for a while, and it's making me upset.
Yeah, you'll be both. Luckily, I've got a whole heap of shares of him in traditional fantasy that are just carrying me weeks, which is good. Lachlan Hammond, how are we, lads? Going great, mate. Thanks for sticking around and throwing this comment in the show. Currently ranked 12th, going well so far. That's Ripper. That's Ripper. I hope you're in Insight Unlimited League. You'd be absolutely cleaning up week to week. And IJ made SC Cup, and I have no idea how. I'm in the same boat. No idea. I've been cash is king, trying to follow Mav's mantra, and my team's been pretty horrid the first couple of weeks, but snuck in there. Lachlan Hammond, who's more of a priority trade at the moment, Lamb or Chase? Probably for the both of you guys, it's Lamb.
Lamb.
There you go. So again, depends on team makeup, but yeah, probably Lamb on that side of it. J Wall TV or J Walt V. Question for the boys: is Drake London a trade out, and do you think it is worth moving Hurts to Allen as he beats up Miami again? Drake London definitely a trade out. Hurts to Allen. Are you looking to do that, or are you just waiting until probably after Allen's bye? I'd imagine.
Yeah, I wouldn't do Allen until after his bye. At this point, if you haven't got him now, you can wait. We saw he scored 22 a couple of weeks ago. I mean, we're going to want him. Don't get me wrong. He's no guarantee to outscore Hurts any given week. So, you can trade him out at his bye. You can trade Hurts out when he's on bye for when Allen's back from bye. And realistically, I'll look at the cash now. I don't think there'll be that much difference in their price by the time that happens. They'll be pretty much the same price. Maybe $2 million difference to do that. So look ahead at those little things you can do. I'm pretty sure that's right. Maybe he's a week earlier than his bye, but a week before Hurts' bye. But they'll be pretty much lined up in price. Wait till then on Hurts. That's me anyway.
Yeah, no, I think
trade out London.
Yeah, I think we'll all be pretty much the same on that one. And punter, any news on Worthy? Still on my bench, not losing money, unlike London. I'm pretty sure he's expected to start this week. So yeah, he probably will be back in, even if he's not 100%. The Chiefs need him. They need him badly against a tough matchup against the Ravens too. So they'll need as much firepower as they can get. Daniel Vensky, cheers, boys. Love your work. Thanks for tuning in, Daniel. Really appreciate it. RJ, Trade Tucker, 70 odd at outlier definitely is. If you go through his history, he definitely has not sniffed that mark whatsoever in the first couple of years that he's been playing. And Lachlan ranked second in the Insight League, so hopefully I can keep it there. Awesome, mate. You might have a nice little custom mini helmet for your efforts by the end of it if you can take the number one spot. But that will do us for our questions and answers. Our trade show for week 4 is well and truly done. A whole heap of options there if you're looking to go through your trades for week 4 and get ready. A little bit of housekeeping before we go out. Our captain's huddle for SuperCoach will be dropping at 6:30 in the morning. So make sure to keep an eye out for that one if you're looking at captain and vice captain / looping options for the week. And our week 4 preview with our starts of the week for traditional fantasy will be going live tomorrow night at 7:30. And last but not least, keep an eye out on Friday on X. If you aren't following us as of yet, all of our handles are in the description below, but we've got them here up on the screen. Myself at Mullin_FF, Secko is at Secko_IFS, and Mav at IFS Maverick there as well. So we're always posting on X, but for this Friday, the first game of week 4, Seahawks versus Cardinals, we will have a little competition on there for a nice standard squeeze 4-1. So make sure you keep an eye on that one. Free, you're going to have a free entry there. You've just got to do a couple of things and guess the top scorer. There's a little tease. If you are watching this one, you'll have a little bit of a leg up. But guys, that'll wrap us up for our week 4 trade show for SuperCoach. We'll be back tomorrow night as always and with our captain's huddle in the morning. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.
See ya.